Three news stories for you. Firstly, a few hours ago, I spoke on three conditions which have been laid out by Ethiopian government for the start of talks with TPLF. Somewhere said, Sajid, you are a spokesperson of TPLF. You have become a spokesperson of TPLF. I have my position about that. Secondly, an overview of humanitarian situation in Ethiopia. We're discussing only gains and losses. What is humanitarian situation in Afar, Amhara, and Tigray? And thirdly, international media is now discussing U.S. intervention in Ethiopia. U.S. military intervention in Ethiopia. Bloomberg, Washington Post, several other international news outlets have shared news stories today hinting at a US intervention in Ethiopia. Is there any possibility of a US military intervention in Ethiopia? Is it possible? We'll have a detailed look at that. Firstly, a few hours ago, I did a video on three preconditions set out by Ethiopian government for the start of talks with the TPLF. I am not a spokesperson of TPLF, but what I have said is based on my understanding of the two sides, what they are thinking, what they're planning. Based upon my understanding of it, I give you my analysis. The three preconditions announced by Ethiopian government are not very constructive. They won't lead to meaningful engagement between Ethiopian government and TPLF. Both sides have their preconditions. Ethiopian government wants Tigray forces to leave, to retreat, to withdraw from Amhara far regions. Tigray government wants Amhara forces to withdraw from Western Tigray. So they need to announce CBMs, confidence building measures first. Ethiopian government can announce some confidence building measures. It can release some prisoners. It can ease the siege which Tigray is under. More food can be sent into Tigray. Fuel can be sent into Tigray. So you need to build confidence first. Same with Tigray. Tigray can provisionally stop its operations. You need to build some confidence before announcing these conditions. If you'll keep on announcing these conditions, it won't serve any purpose, and the war will go on and you won't be able to find a peaceful solution. So you need some sort of confidence building between the two sides. Ethiopian government, Tigray government, they should take the lead. Either of them can take a lead. Either of them can take a lead and start some CBMs, confidence building measures. But the two sides, I don't think they want talks now. They think they can wrap up this war militarily. Tigray government wants removal of PM Abiy, their main condition. On the other hand, Ethiopian government wants TDF to leave Amhara far regions. So their positions are poles apart. In order to get close, they need to announce some confidence building measures first. Then they can think of starting talks. Some positive steps are needed from both sides. Secondly, viewers, an overview of humanitarian situation in Ethiopia, which is very dire, viewers. In Amhara first, around 5 million people are in need of aid now, viewers. And Debre Birhan is now another hub of IDPs. Internally displaced persons fled from Kobo and Kambolcha when TDF entered the two towns, and they have entered Debre Birhan in large numbers, and fighting is now approaching displaced Debre Birhan. Tens of thousands of IDPs are in Debre Birhan now. In Wog Hemra, there is acute shortage of food. Local authorities, Amhara regional government authorities, Agao Liberation Front fighters, all are saying there is shortage of food and supplies in the Wog Hemra zone. Same is the case in north and south Wollovers. What about Afar? I told you that Kambolcha is the hub of activities in Afar. Electricity, communications cut in most parts of Afar, even in Samara and Logia, main towns of Afar. Uh, there are long outages of power. Communications are cut off there in Logia, in Samra too. And no aid is arriving, no food is arriving in Afar from Amhara side. There is shortage of supply, shortage of food as well, shortage of water as well, clean drinking water. In Tigray, situation is worse. We know, viewers, that no aid is arriving there. And since the 18th of October, no aid trucks have entered Tigray so far. And no fuel has entered Tigray since the start of August. It means nothing is entering Tigray. I don't know how people are surviving. Yesterday, UNOCHA reported that cancer treatment ward in Makele Hospital, it has stopped its operations, obviously because of lack of medical supplies. Situation is dire in 3 regions of Ethiopia, and the war is now spreading towards the 4th region, Oromia. Better sense must prevail. There must be some sort of end to this war. Otherwise, people will keep on suffering. Thousands are being killed in the war. Hundreds are dying of malnutrition, of disease, of hunger. Lastly, viewers, a few hours ago, we saw some articles, news stories, international news outlets shared by them. They are not talking about US intervention in Ethiopia. They are saying that Ethiopia cannot resolve its problems on its own. US must intervene. Well, I want to make 3 points about it. Firstly, yes, Ethiopia cannot resolve its problems on its own now. It's very much clear. TDF wants to wrap up this conflict militarily. It is hoping to reach Addis Ababa, and OLA is hoping the same. Ethiopian government is saying it has this belief now that it is still in command, that Tigray is still under a siege. Western Tigray is still under Amhara Eritrean control. TDF's offensive towards Ethiopia-Djibouti road once again repelled. So they say that the presence is only in Amhara region of Tigray Defense Force, and it can be pushed back from Amhara region. Ethiopian government believes the same, that it can end this conflict militarily. So Ethiopian stakeholders cannot resolve their problems on their own, and they think they can end this war militarily. Now, is there any likelihood of acceptance of US intervention if it happened in Ethiopia? Right now, at this point of time, neither the two sides wants an intervention. Neither Tigray nor Ethiopian government want US intervention now. As I said earlier, they are hoping to end this war militarily soon. So that is why they don't want any intervention, military intervention in Ethiopia now. Especially Ethiopian government, it has been stepping up its narrative against the West, the US, that the West, the US, they want to colonize Ethiopia. So they want like US boots on the ground in the form of peacekeepers or other form. Both sides do not want a US military intervention in Ethiopia now. Having said that, the two sides will keep on fighting. They are holding very rigid positions. They have not shown sincerity, they have not shown any real constructive announcements about start of talks. They are holding on to their rigid positions about this war. The two sides cannot end this war militarily. There must be an intervention. US alone cannot do anything in Ethiopia, I think, viewers, because US has become controversial here. Ethiopian government has made US controversial. You need some broad alliance of mediators, of negotiators. Obasanjo's mediation efforts underway, they're not producing any results so far. US, Western countries, and some African countries, they need to work in collaboration. A joint international effort is required to end this conflict. Yes, we could see some peacekeepers in Ethiopia, not just US peacekeepers. You need some internationally backed mechanism to send peacekeepers to Ethiopia. Only US boots on Ethiopian ground will not be welcome. We'll see, viewers. So a joint effort is needed. EU and UN, they are throwing their weight behind African Union, which is not in a position to deliver here. African Union's efforts are not producing any results so far. You need a joint effort. EU, US, African Union, all sides must come together for an intervention in Ethiopia. That is the solution according to my analysis, viewers. Thank you for watching.